Great day, author Ted Ciuba. Glad to be with you doing an author review of These Are the Prayers Napoleon Hill Prayed. Available, you can run and get it at thinkrich.com/prayers. Thinkrich.com/prayers. And this is volume 21 in the sub 4-minute extra mile series. And of course, everything we do in the sub 4-minute mile is kind of capsulizes, it takes the training process, the motivation process, the goal setting process that Roger Bannister so well illustrates and he used so successfully to run the sub 4-minute mile. Trained, didn't have much time at all. He was a busy pre-med student at Oxford University, neurobiology. 30 minutes a day, defied any conventional standard of training, not to mention going for that goal was not, quote unquote, encouraged. He did it in short, regular, focused, intense, intended training sessions. You're going to get an example today. That's what we do in every single session. Every single volume has 19 training sessions in it to help you redefine personal possibility. And in this volume, of course, I will read These Are the Prayers Napoleon Hill Prayed. And I always like to just look at a few. I've highlighted a few titles that you might find of special interest. You go and grab your book. When you pick your empowerment triggers, think Vakagam. Now, there's a lot of important things in there. When you pick, it doesn't say if you pick or you should pick. It's when you pick, presupposition, your empowerment triggers. Okay, that's the noun phrase. What they are, they're triggers. What kind of empowerment triggers? Think Vakagam. So what is Vakagam? All caps. It's a mnemonic. It's a acronym like NASA is. Every letter stands for something, and we will check it out. You need to have more. Oh, here's one. Oh, these next two actually, I had to even consider. They practically didn't even get allowed to get into the book. It's one thing to write a nasty article every now and then, convert it into a training session, and say, but government against the citizen. Maybe there's something you ought to know there. It's the blue pill or the red pill. Which one do you really prefer? That's such a profound question. And then there's when an old man comes hobbling through your life. And the title training session, which we'll jump on, These Are the Prayers Napoleon Hill Prayed. We'll slip straight over to 2.7 almost, but you know what we're going to do en route? We're going to Vakagam if we can. Rock and roll Vakagam. Ooh, there we can. Vakagam. This Vakagam stuff. You want to get your affirmations working in as many dimensions as possible using the Vakagam tool. Visual, auditory, visual. A for auditory. K, kinesthetic, olfactory, sense of smell. G, gustatory, sense of taste. So there you got the 5 senses. E, with an umlaut, double. That's emotional. And then M, movement. You design these in real quick. It's a quick acronym. Boom. Give you something to go for. And now we're going to look at our article, our training session here. Very hooper duper 27 and the prayers. These are the prayers Napoleon Hill prayed. Napoleon Hill led prayer more than one time. At different times, naturally, the words flowed differently. But he never varied from his life's theme. These are the prayers Napoleon Hill prayed. This one has been my favorite for years. I have it written in my heartfelt book. I have it memorized, and I find myself saying it and marveling in it regularly. I recommend the same for you. I've structured it into my life. It's such a good guide. I ask not for mere riches, but for the wisdom with which to recognize, embrace, and properly use the great abundance of riches I now have at my command. I ask not for mere riches. Why? Because the sayer of this prayer knows that they can get all the riches they want using the power of their mind. So he asks for riches, by the way, but it's not mere riches as in, there's got to be more than one sense in the same word used in the same time, multidimensional. Why? Because they know using their mind a gift, a riches, the great I am has already given the man. This concept is the tone of Napoleon Hill's life and the secret of his signature book, Think and Grow Rich. Obviously, Think treats of the power of the mind. That, by the way, is also quoted in a longer prayer. This is the way I found it originally, but we'll connect with it some more too. Here's one oft-quoted version, and rightly so, because Napoleon Hill himself says it on a video circulating on the internet. I mean, I took this straight off the internet, the video. As you can see, though the words are slightly different, the sentiment is identical. O divine providence, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom with which to make wiser use of the riches you gave at birth, consisting in the power to direct my own mind to whatever ends I desire. Beautiful, powerful prayer. O divine providence. This is non-sectarian, as is his style. To direct my own mind to whatever ends I desire. It's certain, by the way, Napoleon Hill studied Wallace Wattles in this regard. And somebody who might have written something like The Master Key to Riches. The New Thought movement, he was into it. The next one I found was the one Joyce Berry turned me on to. I typed in gratitude prayer, Napoleon Hill, in the search engine, and it took me straight to Joyce Berry's Facebook post on the Ultimate Mind University. Here's the prayer as she gives it. I give thanks daily, not for mere riches, but for the wisdom with which to recognize, embrace, and properly use the great abundance of riches I now have at my command. I have no enemies, because I injure no man or woman for any cause. But I try to benefit all with whom I come in contact by teaching them the way to enduring riches. I have more material wealth than I need because I am free from greed and covet only the material things I can use while I live. You can readily see this one is an expanded version of the first example I gave. It expands on the affirmative spirit. Now this one sounds a little more like Napoleon Hill as I know him. A little bit verbose. It's the same thing though. Wisdom. I ask not for mere riches, but for the wisdom with which to recognize, embrace, and properly use the great abundance of riches I now have at my command. Very powerful assumptions built in there, programming the mind. Not only is Napoleon Hill programming, and has he thoroughly, and does he consistently program his own mind, yours too, obviously. The intent is dual for sure. And those riches could be denominated in dollars and cents, not yet in the bank, or in assets, or in a skill or ability as a musician, a dietitian, a doctor, a writer, or a marketer. You see, this whole prayer is a gratitude prayer. It's simultaneously an affirmation. It's simultaneously auto-direction. Now, you've heard of auto-suggestion. Auto-direction is even more precise to the way we intend to, promulgate it for people like us that are working to use things to go to a certain direction. If it changes what you believe about yourself, and in these prayers you are in direct communion with the greatest force in all creation, in a manner of natural outworking, it changes the things you do in life. It's simultaneously living in a state to project what you expect. It's simultaneously living it now. Recognize, embrace, and properly use the great abundance of riches I now have at my command. Think. There's a cause. These riches at your command are a potential asset. I try to benefit all with whom I come in contact. His mission, by teaching them the way to enduring riches. His ministry. It's a good idea. Think this thing through. Read the written version. Say the prayer. Write it out. Put it on your wall. Repeat it daily in the morning. Salute it. Go out to conquer. The masters have much to teach us. Friend Ted Ciuba here, and I am so happy to have just wrapped up the review on These Are the Prayers Napoleon Hill Prayed. You can get your copy right now at thinkrich.com/prayers. Thanks for being with us, friend. Blessings on you. Seems rather appropriate on this review. Blessings to you. Use that wisdom that you have.